Hello my friends, I'm Serenity Dawn and welcome to this story. Today I'm reading my Spooktacular TBR. This is a week-long readathon, although it's really relaxed and some of the hosts have already started their TBRs because this is laid back, it's chill, and there are 15 prompts. So you can choose to do whichever prompts you want, whether it be one or all 14, 15, whatever the case may be. I'm going to tell you all 15 prompts. I'm super excited. I love this readathon. I love this month-long extravaganza of different events and challenges. It's just a lot of fun. The Spooktober 2019 theme that Paper Fairy and her lovely co-host Stacy Stories, Don't Stop Reading, Zariah Rose, and the Bookish Babblers channels will all be linked down below. And the theme this year is Harvest Festival! I love it. I think it's brilliant. These challenges are fun and different. And like I said, it's a chill readathon, so you can pick and choose what you want to do. No obligations. You can double up. You can triple up. If you can find a single book to fit all the prompts, more power to you. Let's get to them, shall we? So the first prompt is Sunflower Fields, to read a book with a flower on the cover. Believe it or not, this was the most difficult challenge for me, but I figured it out. And y'all are just gonna have to kind of go along with me because I'm going to extrapolate just a little bit, stretch this one out, because I'm going to be reading Tuck Everlasting by Natalie Babette. Now, is there a flower on this cover that you can see? Probably not. But this is a beautiful landscape and fall, and I just feel like that there's got to be a mom or a wildflower somewhere near this cabin. I've always felt that. I've envisioned it whenever I see this painting on this book cover, so we're gonna go with it. Plus, I really wanted to reread this book. I haven't read this book in like 20 plus years, and I recently saw the musical with my two youngest children, and oh my goodness, all the feels. And I want to read it. I want to reread it. So we're going to do that. This book is about a little girl named Winnie, and Winnie has lost somebody dear to her family. And yes, it is different in the musical than the book. I do know that much. But basically, she's an 11-year-old girl, and she has been sheltered, and she is a good little girl, and this one day she decides to be a little wild child, and she meets Jessie Tuck. And Jessie Tuck, oh dear, they form an instant friendship and are just what each other needs at that moment in time. And this book, for the little thing that it is, because it's right under 140 pages, it deals with a lot of serious and heavy topics, and it's just so brilliantly done. Oh my goodness. At least me of 20 years ago thought so. I want to see if this book holds up. I think it will, but we'll see. I want to read this. So I will be reading this for Read a Book with a Flower on the Cover, because in my head, this book always had a flower somewhere on it. After we go through the sunflower fields, we're going on a hayride. And hayride is to read a book with a journey or a quest. Now, I decided to read Skyward for hayride because, by golly, Spencer has a quest that she has given herself, and she most definitely goes on a journey to fulfill said quest. This book I read at the beginning of January of this year when I had a lot of family stuff going on, and I absolutely loved it. It was brilliant. Sanderson blew me away with the characters and the story that he created. Oh my goodness, I'm so looking forward to the second book that comes out next month in November. Woo! But anyway, Spencer's father was a fighter pilot, and he was highly revered and respected until one day he committed treason and turned on his squadron. What? You don't do that, especially in times of war. Big no-no. Anyway, obviously, Spencer and her mother are still dealing with the ramifications and the consequences of her father's betrayal years later. And This is super difficult for Spenza, especially because she has always dreamed of being a pilot herself, and nobody wants to trust the trader's daughter. So, fun sci-fi fantasy novel. I highly recommend it. I'm really looking forward to jumping back into this whole book. The next place we're going is to go through the Corn Maze. And for Corn Maze, we are going to pick a book that has lots of twists and turns, or a book that we think will have lots of twists and turns. Because, you know, what's a maze without twists and turns? Wow, how many times am I going to say that? Anyway, the book that I have chosen for this prompt is The Beautiful Ashes by Janine Frost. Now, I don't remember a whole lot about this book. I got this at the end of summer when my husband and I went on a trip to Austin. It was so much fun. We went to so many different bookstores in Austin. It was fabulous. But this is from the Austin Public Library. They were getting rid of it, and I bought it. I don't really know what this book is about, other than it's about a girl who has visions, and she kind of, I think she thinks that she's kind of crazy, and then her sister goes missing, and somehow she finds out that her visions are actually real, and her sister was kidnapped by demons. So she teams up with somebody who can help her, and things aren't always what they seem, kind of thing, and who can she trust? Kind of, I don't know. That's kind of the gist that I get from what I remember of the synopsis of the story. I really don't want to know a whole lot going into it because it's just funner that way. I do know that I have previously loved Janine Frost writing and her characters. Oh my goodness. I read like the 14 or 16 books that are in the Night Huntress world. I devoured those in like a month and a half. Like, I really have enjoyed this author's writing, and I'm excited to, wow, that's shiny, get into another book by her. I think this is a trilogy. I don't know. We'll find out soon, won't we? So then, after we get through that maze, tough work, we're gonna go through the haunted house, because nothing preps you for a haunted house like getting all turned around. And for haunted house, obviously, we're supposed to read a spooky book. Now, I've had this one in my collection for like a year and a half or so. I got this one at my local Dollar Tree of all places, but it sounds super spooky and creepy and ugh. But this is The Creswell Plot. This one is about a girl who's been super sheltered, and her dad is extremist and has, if I'm remembering correctly, he's like a cultist. He's the leader of a cult. He has his own little cult within his family. I don't know. Something's like that. And Cassie, while doing a school project, is teamed up with this kid named Gregor or something. Anyway, she kind of comes to the realization that, you know, not everybody lives like we do. And maybe this isn't what I want or what we need. And this... Anyway, she decides to leave, but she's not going to leave her 5 or 6 siblings. And she's trying to figure out how to get them out. And in the process of her trying to figure all that out, her dad announces that they're all going to be returning back to heaven soon. But anyway, the plot is in a grave plot, and she's trying to save them. So if that doesn't scream creepy or scary or spooky, I don't know what does, because cults, ick. After we get through that haunted house, we're going to need to take a break, and we're going to need to catch our breath, and we're going to need something maybe a little bit more cheery. So we're going to go to the pumpkin patch, and in the pumpkin patch, we're going to read something orange. Now, this one, a little bit tricky, but I figured it out. Hopefully, finally, we are going to get to Wires and Nerve by Marissa Meyer. Now, this is a graphic novel, and this takes place in the Lunar Chronicles after the events of Winter and Stars Above. Yes! Oh, I loved the Lunar Chronicles. However, I have not yet read Wires and Nerve. I don't know. I was supposed to read this, I think, for the reading rush, and I never got to it. But maybe now I will. There is orange on her hood and in the highlighting and some of the detailing around the font. And I also painted my pages orange for good measure. So lots of orange on this book. Oh, Wires and Nerve is a graphic novel that takes place after the Lunar Chronicle. This is about Aiko, which is the android and Cinder's best friend. Anyway, she and her missions after the events of the main Lunar Chronicles books. That's what this is all about, Aiko's journey, and I'm so excited. Once we're done with the pumpkin patch, we're gonna go pick some apples. When we're picking some apples, we're going to read a book that someone picked for us. Now, for this one, I'm going to be reading Skyward by Brandon Sanderson because I've already read this book. This is a reread. Super excited, but it's a reread. And my friend Stephanie, who I'm going to be doing a buddy read of this book with, picked it for us. So yes, I'm going to go with this. I will link Stephanie's channel down below because if you haven't already, you need to check it out. Scarecrow. Oi, scarecrows. You gotta read a book that scares you. Now, I thought so very hard about this one, y'all. The book that kept coming to my head was KOA. And if you don't know what KOA is, that is Kingdom of Ash. And Kingdom of Ash is the final book in the Throne of Glass series. Y'all, I've put off this book for over a year because I was burned. I was burned so bad by Echo War. A Court of Wings and Fury, I feel like burned me. Yeah. So, I've put off Kingdom of Ash. I mean, things happened shortly after. I wasn't able to read it when it came out. And then, I just, the longer I put it off, the more I was like, no, I'm scared. I just don't want to. I'm afraid it's gonna, not go well. Like I ignored it. And it just, so I put it off. And I put it off. But y'all, I finally picked it up in October. And so technically I have already read this one, but I'm going to count it because by golly, some of the other hosts have counted some of their October reads because of the 15 prompts. So I'm going to count Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas for this one. I could count a different book on my list for this and I'd be tripling up on that book, but I'm gonna just tell y'all this one scared the snot out of me to read, but I'm so glad I did. I was so happy with how this went. I thought I knew how it was gonna go. I thought I knew who was gonna die. I thought I knew who was gonna live, and by golly, I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was shocked. It worked. It worked the way it was done. After we pass that scarecrow, we are going to go get on that Ferris wheel because when you're on the Ferris wheel, you can see for miles. And we're going to read a book that has a unique perspective. Now for this book, again, I could probably go with like Wires and Nerve because it's from a perspective of an android. But I'm going to recommend a book here. I was like, what? Because I just read it yesterday. It's called The World After by Susan E. And basically what happens in this series is it's a trilogy. And this series is called Penryn and the End of Days. And then the second book, World After, we have, for a couple different points, the perspective of a sentient sword. Yes, you heard that right. It is a sword that is sentient. And it's so crazy, but it actually works. It's brilliant. I was just like, what? But it was so well done. Yes, that was such a very unique perspective, was the viewpoint of a sword. But it really worked in this book and in this series. You've got a post-apocalyptic Earth, and we are dealing with angels and demons because, hey, we're in the end of times. We're getting ready for the apocalypse and, all the wonderful things that are coming with the 7 seals and all that crap. But anyway, that was really unique perspective. If you need a book for that, I recommend The World After, which is the second book. First of all, you need to read Angel Fall by Susan E. So just throwing that out there. After we get down off the Ferris wheel, we are going to go over to the petting zoo and we are going to read a book that has an animal in it. Now for this one, I'm going to be reading Changes by Jim Butcher. This is book number, I don't know what. I really don't know which book it is, number-wise. But this is in the Harry Dresden files. And Harry Dresden is a wizard. And not only is he a wizard, but he's also a detective. And it is brilliant. I love it. This is such a fun series. Oh my word, y'all. This is such a fun adult urban fantasy series. I've eaten them up. Now, you can read them, and reading them is all fine and dandy, but if you can listen to them, that is where it's at, because in the audiobooks, James Marstairs narrates them. You may recognize James Marstairs because he's done things such as Spike from Buffy, and he played Zod in Smallville, and he's done numerous other things that I'm drawing a blank on at the moment. But yes, his narration of the Dresden Files is just perfection. So highly recommend these on audiobook if you can get a hold of them. And I'm saying changes for the Dresden Files because Harry has a cat named Mister that is featured, I think, in every book. So if not, there's sure to be another animal in this book somewhere at some point. After we go to the petting zoo, we're gonna go get our faces painted. And for that, we're going to be reading a book that features transformation. Now, I'm doubling up and I'm going to be reading changes for this one as well, because without giving you any spoilers, if you've read the series, holy cow, you know that this book has major changes for our characters. There will be a transformation for our main character in this book. I mean, all you have to do is read, the cover or the back cover or the Dutch checker, whatever. I mean, like, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Just reading the first sentence somewhere on the back of this book major spoiled me. And I was just like, what the flip? But, so I'm not going to tell you what it is. Let's just leave it at the fact that major changes, major transformations happen in this book. After we go and get our faces painted, we're going to go bobbing for apples. And in bobbing for apples, we're going to read a book that features water. Why we got our face painted before we bob for apples, I'm not really sure, but hey, we're rolling with it. For this book, reading a book that features water, I am going to be reading the group book, The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh, because in The Beautiful, which I've already read, because the group book you can read at any point in the month of October, there is New Orleans. This takes place in New Orleans, but there is a whole scene that takes place on a boat, on the water. So, hey, book that features water. There's a boat, there's water, there's a dock, New Orleans. Lots of water. After we go bobbing for apples, we're going to join the pie eating contest, and we are going to read a book that we can devour within 24 hours. Now for this one, I have decided to read the third book in the Penguin End of Days trilogy, and that is End of Days. I was like, wait a minute, what's the third book called? It's called End of Days. That's what I'm going to read for it. So I'm excited to delve into that and to read the last book. This has been a fun book. Definitely made me think a few times. Yikes, you've got an angel, you got demons, you got humans, they're all fighting against each other. You got a human falling in love with an archangel, you got an archangel who, maybe falling for this human, but they can't mix because then he'll be a fallen angel, and that's a no-go situation. Seriously no-go. So, yeah, lots of complications. Gonna see how this all resolves itself. Pretty sure I'll get through it in 24 hours because I've read the other two books in less than 48. So then, because we're not full enough, we're gonna go eat some candied apples. Eating candied apples, we're gonna eat a fall treat while reading a book. Now, I don't have a specific book for this one because any of the books that I haven't read yet will work for this prompt. And also Bonfire, which is to read a book while we are warm and cozy. So eating a fall treat and reading a book while warm and cozy, candy apples and bonfires. I will figure out a book somewhere along the way for this one. That is all of the main challenges, and like I said earlier, The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh is the group book for the Spooktober Harvest Festival that we have going. I did get this read already and I did enjoy it. I know that it's getting a lot of mixed reviews. This was a solid 4 for me. And while I don't think that this is the vampire book that everyone was waiting for, I did really enjoy it. I am very much looking forward to the next book. But I also did enjoy The Immortal Rules a lot more. That one really just was like, whet my appetite for a good vampire book. Even more so than this one. Wasn't what I thought it would be, but this was a good story. I enjoyed it. Looking forward to the next one. And with that, we have our Harvest Festival and all the prompts that I am hoping to do and the books that I'm planning on reading for it. And again, this is happening the last week of October from the 25th through the 31st. If you're going to be joining me and doing this, let me know in the comments down below. If you are doing a TBR video, you're welcome to link it or just let me know that you did it and I would love to check it out. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up because that's always a nice little affirmation. And if you haven't already, go subscribe and ring the bell so that you'll be notified every time I post new videos. I hope that you're having a beautiful and blessed day, my friends. Don't forget to enjoy the journey that is your story. I'll see you soon. Bye.